It's the book of Micah, chapter 2. Begin at verse 1, and it reads, Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. You know, scriptures tell you that the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. And who is the wicked? Malachi chapter 1 tells you Esau Edom is the border of wickedness, meaning all wickedness begins and ends with Esau Edom, which is the self-proclaimed white man, but whose biblical nationality goes back to the biblical Hebrew Edomite. It says, and they covet fields and take them by violence. Covet, meaning they want to pretty much take after or possess, Scriptures tell you that, the Lord pretty much allotted a possession of land to each nation, But this devil pretty much wants to inherit or take over everybody's land. He wants everybody to be up under one banner, up under his order. I believe I read something saying that Greenland, pretty much America has acquired Greenland. And they covet fields and take them by violence. Then they take this land from the tribes of Gad and Reuben violently. They take them by violence in houses and take them away, so they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. Who is the nation of people that's trying to say that they are they are the biblical Israelites, but don't call themselves Israelites, they call themselves Israelis. And then pretty much define Semitic when it's Shemitic, and pretty much everything is anti, Semitic in order to pretty much be a buffer to the fact of them proving that they are indeed the true children of Israel. The Bible says that the Lord was going to put the Israelites back in the land, and once the Israelites were back in the land, there would be war anymore on the earth. However, you got a war going on right now. Clearly showing that these people are not the people of the Lord. Verse 3, therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, for which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go hauntingly, for this time is evil. And ultimately the scriptures talk about the least of the flock drawing them out. Right now, they attacking Iran, and we know because of that, ultimately you're gonna pretty much begin World War III. It's spiritual too, because at the end of the day, like the prophecy states and the elder always says, before World War III jumps off, you got to have the mass implementation of that micro C-HIP or that digital technology. And the one elder from New York literally did a video about how they passed crypto, like a cryptocurrency bill called the Genius Act. And I was gonna do my camp on something totally different, but through the spirit, that's what I'm gonna do my camp on. Because it seemed like every time I'm about to do it on something else, something about the mark of the beast come up. Something about this beast system, and because we in the time of that prophecy being fulfilled. So it was just spiritual, because you got to think about that Palantir, that Palantir, which is like a all seeing eye, or what do they call them damn things and like sorcery. I mean sci-fi book, not sci-fi, fantasy books. When the wizard or the warlock has a magic ball. That's what it's supposed to be, though. Like, and in Lord of the Rings, pretty much, Saruman, he will be able to talk to Sauron, the Dark Lord, through that ball. That's how he saw the eye. So literally, they putting this shit right in your face. Skipping to verse 10, the point: arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it's polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. This place is not your rest, And this system that they're creating, this beast system, is literally those that try to hold on to it and conform with it. It's that second chapter 16. All those that consent shall be had in derision. They're going to be destroyed. So I want to start off by giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to Allah, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Hakodash, double honors to the elders and to the apostles that taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Akwat out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad and the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you, I say Shalom. It's the brother Yahweh coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit, through the power of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. And this lesson is inspired based on, I followed. He's not an economist, but he knows things about the economy. I think he got a company where he could help you fix your credit. Because it's funny, when I was part of the camp, me and the brother, I put him on to him, and he was considering dealing with him, paying for, because I think the first one is a consultation is free, paying for him to fix his credit. And I don't really got bad credit, but I don't really have good credit either. So long story short, and it's funny because that dude moved from Florida to here. And I understand why he moved, because you got to understand, Cleveland is like a major city, but it's not as expensive as certain major cities. Like the elder was talking about, like Chicago, you had a lot of millionaires leave Chicago. You had a lot of millionaires leave New York. And then a lot of them ran to like Texas, because, you can have money there. California, a lot of people left California because of the property tax. California is very expensive. I remember my dumbass demon ran to California. And California is one of the places they still give you an actual, physical check. Ohio doesn't. See, Ohio holds these hoes responsible, accountable. Bitches can't keep on having babies, pushing babies out, and literally living off the system. Nah, in California, you got people that's homeless that's living better than some people here. I watched the video, dude was talking about that. He was like, you get a check, he get a free phone, he can watch TV, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. But pretty soon, like, all that shit about to be done away with. And that's why the scripture said, rise up ye and depart, for this is not your rest, Because you're going to have to pretty much show allegiance to the system in order to get any goodies from it. So I want to start off by giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to Allah, Yahweh. I believe I did the salute again, but, for good measure, call Allah, Yahweh, double honors to the elders and to the apostles that taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Akwat out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribe to this truth. To you, I say Shalom. Brother Yahweh coming at you another lesson through spirit, through the power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. This is the second time me doing this video, and hopefully this time it doesn't cut out again. I guess I had too much memory, or I had to delete something and reboot the video. So Lord willingly, and I take that like either the Lord sometimes don't want certain things in there, or He wants you to add certain things. So that's how I look at it. So this is the second time I'm going around. This is an interesting video. Lord willingly, it's edifying to those of the hopeful elect. Fair use. Not profiting enough for this. I'm just lining up what he's saying.
Ever notice your grocery bill is climbing? Ever notice your grocery bill is climbing even though you're buying the same exact stuff? It's not just inflation anymore. Many stores are now changing prices in...
what's deep? The first time it had a comment. Read that. It says, in the Bible, it says it will cost a day's wage for a loaf of bread. Here we go. So, again, digital price tags mean they can change the price of something instantly. Somebody else left a comment that says the United States of Palantir. You know what I'm saying? So again, don't be surprised this thing happening sooner than when you believe. We all anticipating it, those that believe, but this can happen, suddenly, and that's what the scriptures talk about. They should set peace and safety, and then sudden destruction should come upon them. You got to understand, and I was just thinking about that recently, like, this devil is advanced. The technology, the iPhone that you think is so advanced, he been ahead of that technology. So if they letting us know about AI now, how long have they really been using AI? Think about it.
real time, even adding extra charges at the checkout. These surcharges getting tacked on to the bottom of more and more bills. There's now an extra fee if you order eggs at a Waffle House or Denny's.
I'll just stop eating eggs here.
And some retailers importing goods from China, even adding a tariff surcharge. It's called dynamic pricing, powered by AI.
Dynamic pricing is where a retailer is constantly changing the price of a product or a service. If there's more demand, they may raise the price. If there's less demand, they may lower the price.
Prices going up during peak hours. And companies are already experimenting with facial recognition to increase the prices based on who you are in real time. There are some grocery stores.
Let's think about that. Being that we all being monitored, because being surveillance state. At the end of the day, you out here preaching the word. The scriptures talk about making a man an offender for a word. So at the end of the day, who's to say these won't affect individuals that's actually bringing out the truth? It's going to. But so that's why it's going to be so important for you to really be locked into this truth. And we already understand the struggle because the Lord constantly takes us and tries us and chastises us and hardens us. So, you know what I mean? But I wholeheartedly believe, you stay faithful. The Lord got you, man. That's all I can say, even through walking this walk alone. Because the thing is, I'm not truly alone. The scriptures tell you in the book of Psalm chapter 34 that angels of the Lord encamp around those that fear the Lord. I can say some amazing, one of the most amazing things was I had silver from Slovakia. I had silver back from the stimulus checks. I've been out the camp by myself for like almost close to a year. Literally, I had to run through that silver. And I forgot who was speaking on it. It was like how the Lord will try you. He might make you give up everything you have and then come through at the last end. And I can say the Lord literally did that. Slovakia. Bear with me for a second. Kazak, be quiet.
That have been collecting customers' biometric data. Americans are already financing food and drowning in debt. And now pricing is getting personalized too. So who does this really benefit, and how deep does this go? Dynamic pricing isn't new. Airlines have been doing it for years. Surge pricing on Uber, same thing. But now it's creeping into something much more basic, your weekly grocery run. Dynamic pricing isn't anything new. Airlines and hotels use it, but people view groceries differently.
People cannot not buy food, and it also tends to be one of the largest line items in a household's budget.
So here's how it works. Instead of having a fixed price on a specific item, stores will use algorithms to increase or decrease pricing based on demand, time of day, or how busy the store is. That $4 orange juice at 9 a.m., it might be $4.50 by noon. And these aren't just pilot programs anymore. A European tech company is rolling out digital shelf tags across entire American grocery stores.
Denovation Technologies is a provider of digital smart labels powered by an automation technology that lets companies automate their labeling, pricing, product information, and promotions in real time.
Microsoft, yes, Bill Gates' Microsoft, has contracts tied with smart pricing systems too. Add in those rewards programs where you type in your phone number for a discount. That's not just for coupons, that's not for you. That's a gold mine for them. They know your habits. What you buy, how often you buy it, when you buy it, and what prices you'll tolerate for those items. And here's where it gets really wild. Some companies are already testing facial recognition in their stores. In theory, prices could become personalized based on your age, your gender, your income, and your credit score. Companies aren't doing this because they can. They're doing this because they have to. They have a fiduciary duty to their shareholders to get them the highest return on their investment and to become the most profitable company that they can be. That, coupled with over the last 2 years, inflation has crept in. It made everything much more expensive. From labor, packaging, shipping, raw ingredients, everything is getting much, much, much more expensive. And at the same time, Americans are tapped out. They're not buying more, they're buying less. And shoplifting has skyrocketed.
88% of retailers say shoplifters have become at least somewhat more aggressive in the last year. That's according to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce.
Food companies can't just keep jacking prices up. People are already shifting and changing to cheaper brands. or flat out skipping items. So instead, companies are turning to tech. If you can't sell more, you have to maximize every sale. Dynamic pricing allows them to squeeze out extra dollars at the register. When the store is packed, when it's late, when customers are tired, or when they know a certain shopper is less price sensitive. And it's not just grocery stores either. From Amazon to fast food apps, algorithms are already quietly changing what you pay, sometimes by the minute. And when consumers are carrying record credit card debt, and over 60% are paycheck to paycheck.
I found 60% of adults say they are living paycheck to paycheck heading into the holidays.
I work full time. He works more than full time. I don't know what to do.
You may have seen this video circulating on TikTok.
You know, and that's spiritual because, like I said, the first time I'm laughing this time. The scripture tells you in the book of Proverbs that the Lord is going to laugh at your calamity. And how's he going to do that? He's going to laugh through the men and pretty much were set up to give the warning. You know, and we know through the spirit that majority of these people, you know, is going to refuse the straight gate. You know, that's why the scriptures talk about this world was made for many and the world to come for few. You know, at the end of the day, though, you know, this is the way life is going. That is, you know, pretty much that's a two income household. And she crying because she's saying that they don't still have enough. That devil said you will own nothing and be happy. And he said that for a reason. And you're going to have still people that's going to come against the truth. Look at it right now, you know. Brothers constantly talking about how you got motherfuckers just coming out the woodworks. And expect that all the way to the very end. That's, you know, condition of the battle. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day. That's why the elder brother from Chicago literally just did a video. He was talking about his only fight. You know, and that's the mindset a soldier of Yahweh Shem Yahushua is supposed to have. The fight is this. This is, you know, make me think of a Game of Thrones with Jon Snow. You know, he wanted to go fight it and help his brother, and they had to talk him out of it, and he had to come to his senses, like, because he basically was not a man. You know, and brothers utilize a Game of Thrones and the Night Watch because, you know, that's a representation of this truth. Because we are likened onto soldiers. The world fight ain't our fight. Our fight is, you know, against principalities, against powers, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And we casting this bitch down because that's why these devils about to come with great persecution. This man, do you know how significant we got to be? Think about it. This man literally said create a golden dome because they terrified of those missiles, those ICBMs hitting that bitch. And your golden dome ain't going to work because the Iron Dome didn't. Only difference is with the gold dome is literally, you know, that's the scary part. Again, the scriptures say the deceive and the deceiver are both his. These devils literally think because they got this much in advanced technology that the Lord got you in a trick bag. Trick.
A woman shares her experience of living paycheck to paycheck in a two-income household.
This isn't just business, it's exploitation with a digital mask. This is the part that no one really wants to talk about. But we need to, because the truth is, many people are already financing their groceries on installment plans. Buy now, pay later isn't just for electronics.
I'm going to stop right there because think about what he just said. You got motherfuckers trying to hold on to Babylon the Great, aka America, but you can't even afford to eat. You got motherfuckers literally how you finance furniture or your car or your home. They financing groceries to live week by week. They bitch owe it. So I'm going to bring out some scriptures. It's the book of Haggai chapter 1, point is verse 6. It's at the end of the scriptures say this is not your rest, you know. And, you know, it's already been hard on, you know, the nation of Israel. But Israel can also maneuver through it because Israel's used to the struggle. Edom is the one that's going to go ape shit over this shit. You know, this Esau, you know, I can literally attest to that because I work at a job with Edomites. And them motherfuckers, you know, been living well. Like, the funny part is they had to open it up to Jake because them Edomites wasn't trying to go in that line of work. I'm going to say a quick testimony. The Edomite at my job, literally, when he was training me, it was a father and a son. And he was like, I don't know what type of money you used to getting. And now, mind you, this is the most money I've ever made at a job. But when one day I just sat back and calculated, and I was like, damn, this is the most money I ever made, but it's only like an extra $100 on my paycheck. You know what? So I get that to the Lord. Put it like that. You know what I mean? The Lord about to set me up to see what he'll do with it. Because I think about it like, you know, again, my kids really don't want for nothing. You ask Jake about me, I might have some brand new shoes, but I'm walking around like I don't. You know what I mean? Like, because at the end of the day, you never let your left hand see what your right hand doing. You know, like, we did that in the world. I grew up around some niggas that swore they was my niggas and really wasn't my niggas. Scheme and plot, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I already had a mindset to certain shit. Everybody that smiles in your face or everybody that's sitting at your table ain't really worthy to be at the table. Haggai chapter 1 and verse 6. Ye have sown much and bring in little, ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink. And at the end of the day, the Lord is going to actually sift for all that, you know. I just pray, like I said again, that the Lord never take the Holy Spirit away from me, you know, because the Lord be blessing, you know what I mean? I see that constantly, you know. It's a fearful thing, the walk I'm walking, but to be, at the same time, I'm not afraid. Want to know why? Because I might be by myself, but I'm not alone. And I quoted Psalms 34 already. You know, the Lord be looking out extremely. You know what I mean? I pray that the Lord continue to, because I know this shit about to get harder. I pray that the Lord will be done and not my own. I pray that the Lord keep pride far away from me. And I pray the Lord never take the Holy Spirit away from me. And if he does, I pray that you take me out the same moment that you do that. Because I can't imagine just being here. You know what I mean? Like, fuck. Go back into the world. Like, that's the thing about it. Like, how can you know? You know, that's like Jay-Z made that statement. He said, once you ate caviar, you ain't never going back to sardines. And I don't agree with that, you know, but at the same time, I get where his mindset is. You know, once you know the truth of the world, would you really go back in the world? Did you, like, once you know that these devils literally about to set up a police state, but nobody's gonna police them, how could you literally like sleep good at night? Ye have so much, you know, we all busting our ass, you know, because, you know, the scriptures talk about if you don't work, you don't eat. But the main work you're supposed to be doing is to work for this truth. You'll bust your ass for Esau, Edom, but you ain't gonna bust your ass for the Lord. Just remember, the Lord see all that. Ye have so much and bring in little, ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put into a bag with holes. Now, if that inflation was already in there, just imagine now with this shit. You know, again, they gonna be able to recognize, oh yeah, he be on the highways and hedges. We all on the highways and hedges, right? You know, these smart, cameras and smart lights and all that shit all record everybody. We don't go out on the highways and hedges with a mask on. We go out there, face out there. So you don't think that's why they know who everybody is. The brother said that that devil literally said him by his name. And I'd been knew he was an agent, not even knowing the information that the elders brought out about how he said he was sent and that he was a Jesuit and all that shit. I just through the spirit knew that this nigga, when he had like them 25 cameras, and it was like you could clearly see what he was trying to do. He was trying to instigate somebody to react carnally. And, you know, you got to understand when you like debating, you know, going back and forth with somebody trying to prove your point, especially as men, one man might get louder than the other, you know what I mean? You know, but the scriptures talk about a man controlling his spirit. But yeah, I mean, I could clearly see he was really trying to just entice somebody to go off so he could have it on film. And it was so beautiful that ain't nobody did that yet. But you best believe, the police gonna continue. They gonna give you an hour and a half because they hoping something carnal come out of it so they can arrest somebody. So again, we were all already struggling to survive, but just now they create a system where because what you believe may affect your ability to survive and take care of yourself. This devil don't play fair. You know, scriptures talk about who can make straight what the Most High made crook. You know, what's that? He said in Scarface. He said it's a pig that don't fly straight. I forgot how he worded it. You know, but whenever I heard that line, it made me think of Esau or like a serpent. You know. This motherfucker crook. He'll sit up there and present, you know, this sensibility like he just this upright man. But then at the same time, he be the same one. Esau Edom will capture some drugs, right? He'll do a drug bust or a weapons bust. And then a year later, those same drugs or weapons will end up back on the street. If that ain't some, he trying to play the Most High God because he trying to create both good and evil. The Lord got his dumb ass in the trick bag though. So Lucky, I didn't mean to make this long, It's the book of Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 7. And again, going to this beast system that he's creating, it talks about the servant of the rich ruler over the poor. It's the Proverbs. It's Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 7, and it reads, the rich ruler over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. And they creating a system where you're going to have to pretty much borrow and pay for everything instantly. So you always a perpetual slave. And servitude, most people is not going to rebel if they know that it's going to affect their household. I'm going to be honest with that. Like I years ago, I wouldn't have been able to keep no job around these Edomites. And they purposely, like, you speak to one of these crackers and they literally act like they ain't hear you. Like, I'm dealing with shit like that. And it got to the point where, I'm like, it's cool because I'm racist my damn self. So I'm laughing secretly on the inside. Bitch, you ain't got to speak. I don't have to speak either. We all just using one another. It's a joke that Eddie Griffin literally say. He say, he would take a racist redneck, a nigga, and what do you say? I think he said a Northern Kingdom brother. He's like, and with them three, they'll get shit done. For right now, this is for the moment. This is transitory. This is for a moment. It's gonna be over at one point. Because again, I was gonna do a video about Coca-Cola is closing down factories here, and then with the whole situation about how certain states is adopting the policy that R.F. Kennedy pretty much passed as far as not being allowed to buy like sodas and candy and sweets with your food stamp card. Oh yeah, what do you think? That's not only gonna regulate what person can, eat, and another form of control, but it's also going to put out a lot of businesses. These gas stations and certain neighborhood stores that just sell certain shit to Jake, Swishers, Black and Miles, and alcohol and candy to the fucking kids, them got to go out of business because a lot of them are sustained by those food stamps. All that's about to do is hurt. That's what I say. That show you how much of a child he is. As brilliant as this man think he is, and this man does have power, this man's a fucking idiot. So again, he's about to create a system where if you love your life, scriptures talk about in 2nd Ezra's, those that consent unto him shall be had in derision. Those that comply is going to literally be trodden underfoot. But you got 2/3 that's going to be trusting in niggas like DJ Trump, and this system all the way in, up into the point of walking into them. Shit, even in the internment camps, is they still going to feed us? Because a nigga just so brainwashed with waiting for these motherfuckers to give you something. When you really take the time to, I understand why Jake be like, they hate niggas. Because I hate niggas. A nigga mindset is not conducive to living. You know what I mean? Like a nigga don't, put it like this. A nigga doesn't have anybody's well-being in mind, even himself. A nigga will crash out himself and those with him. You know what I mean? Nigga be in the car, he got a switch in the car or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Or he'll do some dumbass shit. I just recently saw something like that when I said, because I grew up, and that's a hard habit to break. Like the elder brother was bringing up that he was like, he was talking about Jake fucked up based on the fact of this society, and he went into the Willie Lynch laters and all that. Yeah, the way we are traumatized. He went into the fact that how a man might have been given the truth and still fucked up because of this place. Because we under heavy curses, man. And that's why, again, you should be hastening the day of the destruction of this place. Even with all this beautiful light and wisdom and knowledge, we still fucked up because we in these weak ass bodies and under these curses. That show you the power of the Lord, man. Like, so I'm gonna end it with this, because at the end of the day, this system that they're creating, is no getting around it. You know what I mean? This devil is given a time to reign. The aeon, or eon, because he's basically bringing forth the will of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua with this beast system. And at the end of the day, you got to be like the elder brother from Dallas said. You know, you got to. He said there was three aspects for salvation. I know he said one was the blood of Yahweh Shai and understanding the importance of it. And I know um, he said as far as having a mindset to like really understand that this world is done and being able to, you know, I've been using the phrase of lately off of heat, you know, you got to be ready to pretty much walk away from anything in this world in 30 seconds or less. From your woman, your children, you know, and I'm gonna say it first and foremost. Like with me, I was bumping my head, and nobody took the time to tell me nothing. They just let me bump my head. But you know, that's certain ways. Certain brothers. Maybe if I was another brother would have took the time to, you know, take the time to, you know, hey brother, you know, have you set up there or brought out a scripture? But none of that. And I ain't even mad about it. You know what I mean? That was my lot. I could, eventually the Lord, you know, through the elder showed me. You know what I mean? And that's when I really realized the Lord. That's when I recognized the Spirit. Because I used to hear brothers talk about the Spirit, but then I didn't, I say something, brother be like, that's the Spirit. But I didn't recognize the Spirit until that day. The elder said something after my situation. I was like, damn. And that's when I feared. I was like, no, you know, because the Lord got like traps to, you know, be stumbling blocks. A bitch might be one. You know what I mean? You know, I call her a bitch, you know, which is nothing but a female dog. That's in the scriptures. A shame. My demon is a shameless woman is counted as a dog, you know. Because these women ain't got no shame, you know, but they will. These women about to be in fear, man. You know, my demon is like one of the most proudest ones you will ever come across. Man, and that's the cold part about it. I watch females move to other states. They cutting shit here. Why would you move to another state where you don't know nobody and they cut the shit out? Well, the Lord allowed them to do that. Just like the elder said, you got individuals that came over here seeking a better life, and guess what? Now they being detained and, you know, sent to a whole nother country, and they got. Psh. This is the book of Matthew chapter 6 and verse 19. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth where moth and rust doth corrupt and where thieves break through and steal. Verse 20, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt and where thieves do not break through nor steal. Verse 21, for there your treasure is, for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Verse 22, the light of the body is the eye. If therefore thy eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. So where your focus is, you know, what your intent is. If you truly seeking the kingdom, you know, that's where your focus is going to be, you know. There's nothing wrong with women and, you know, and money and, you know, all these things are lawful and they could be good. But at the same time, when you see in the state of the world and where the world headed and everything's done in moderation, you know, too much fucking can be to your detriment. Too much drinking too much water can actually, it's a thing called water poisoning. You know, everything's supposed to be done in moderation. I'm speaking myself first and foremost because sometimes I overindulge in alcohol, you know. That demon come out. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, you're trying to drink away the pain. But sometimes I go without drinking at all. Like, because the one brother from Texas said that. He said, sometimes you got to put that bottle down and pray. The fuck? The prayer ain't in the bottle. Now, the scriptures do say, give strong drink to those that want to perish. But, you know, again, the scriptures also about the time of being sober. And right now, you know, you need to be sober and circumspect. You know, certain things happening. I just saw a brother do a video about that. You know, all brothers need to be circumspect right now. Because there's a lot going on. At any time, anything can happen. You know. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? You know, we got, you know, the light of this truth. And this world is covered in darkness. So you can't serve the world and serve Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. You know. In fact, what's that? 1 John. I'm gonna end it with that. Love not the world or the things that are in the world. Salaki, bear with me. Yeah, it came to me called Loyim La Yahweh Shemel Shai because I always get them mixed up. 1 John chapter 2 and verse 15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. Verse 17. And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of the Most High abideth forever. You know, those that are servants of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, the slaves of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, the elect of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, is pretty much going, put his will before everything else. Verse 18, little children, it is the last time, and as ye have heard that Antichrist shall come, even now are there many Antichrists, because it's not just one Antichrist. You got a lot of individuals that's against Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. You're seeing all these so-called Christians popping up. But they're not, they anti-Christians because it tells you in Acts, they were first called Christian in Antioch. So you got to be an Israelite to be a Christian first and foremost. But these so-called Christians, they not serving the God of the Bible. Even now are there many antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time. So we know we at the end because look at all these antichrists popping up, and pretty much they're trying to implement a system that's against Yahweh Shai Mashiach, or against Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. And again, I'm going to say it one more last time. The scriptures say that the Most High God, the deceive and the deceiver are both his. So the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, got him in a trick bag. So if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, similar Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the law, statutes, commandments of your power, which your name in the Paleo Hebrew is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, or you will be destroyed. And with that, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Elohim La Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Ba'ashem Kodash. Double honors to the elders, to the apostles that taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives, freedom to do so now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Aqua, thought they're listening and learning. Lord, willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Till next time, Lord, willingly. Shalom, shalom. Kwame Yasharallah. Wa Ball.